There is an issue in Illinois. The Illinois Supreme Court has ruled on the Illinois Eavesdropping Law, which is a lot of folks might be surprised to learn that there is such a law. But, Bill, this is in your bailiwick, I know.
Yeah, so Illinois has had the toughest, or at least one of the toughest, eavesdropping laws in the country. States are generally either one-party consent states, that's the majority of them, which means just one person to a conversation that's being recorded has to consent.
And that's the Missouri rule.
That's the Missouri rule. The other is basically two-party or all-party consent states. That's what Illinois has had. And Illinois enforced it particularly strongly because they would enforce it to cover conversations in public that did not seem to be intended to be private conversations. So the Illinois Supreme Court said that their reasoning was that the law criminalized a wide range of innocent conduct. And they gave us examples: a loud argument on the street, a political debate on a college quad, yelling fans at an athletic event, any conversation loud enough that speakers should expect to be heard. All these things, if you recorded them under the Illinois law, would have been illegal, would have been felonies. And the Illinois Supreme Court said that's way too broad. It violates the First Amendment.
There was a connection, though, in the past, and again, it's been some time since we discussed this with regard to recording police officers.
Yeah, the police officer, this is the occasion in which it often comes up. So, like if you used your cell phone to record a police stop where you thought maybe the police were, well, regardless of what you observed, that without the police's consent, or for that matter, without the suspect's consent, you'd be violating the eavesdropping law. It's only the sound part, though. It's not the video. It's just if you're recording the sound. The two cases that went up to the Illinois Supreme Court both involved citizens who wanted to make some sort of record of things happening in courtrooms, the police unions have supported the eavesdropping law and saying that it's important to protect officers when they're stopping citizens who might be difficult to get along with.
While we're talking, Judge, about recording things in courtrooms, as a former judge, what are your thoughts with regard to television coverage, for instance, or radio coverage, sound in the courtroom?
Well, Don, there was a time that I thought this may, in fact, deter from the function of courtrooms and cause a certain amount of drama in courtroom proceedings. But I've evolved a little bit in that area and began to think that, it really helps the public to see what goes on. And I think the greater purpose it may serve is to inspire greater confidence in the system and the way it functions, for people to actually be able to see what goes on in the courtroom. I think they'd quickly become pretty bored with it because it's not really like a television program and there's not drama going on all the time. And what happens can sometimes be rather tedious for persons not involved. But I don't have any overall objections to it.
On the other hand, there are times, and I'm relatively few, I'm sure, in which it can incite. I'm thinking in particular of the O.J. Simpson trial, for instance. People watched that, and we all know what happened following the verdict in that case. Yeah,
well, that case, of course, is a notorious one for a variety of reasons. I'd say, though, largely among the lawyers, there's a lot of concern just about the way the judge conducted that trial and perhaps was not as in control as he should have been. It made lawyers and judges in courtrooms look pretty bad, particularly for those of us here in Missouri who are accustomed to trials being a little bit more constrained and judges being a bit more in control and things being done in a business-like way.
Yeah, there were concerns about grandstanding that
Yes.
that could happen, and it would become a show.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that.
No. I think that's pretty rare, and the O.J. Simpson case was, well, it's unlike any other case for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. Mark, did you have a thought?
No, I just think, I look at the Board of Aldermen meetings, they seem to have gotten longer once they were on TV, and I'd worry about that with trials. But I think a good judge could rule people in and keep the lawyers on point and to the point.
Cameras certainly haven't helped out the House of Representatives.
No, right.
Those fellows just stand up there and give their 1-minute speeches, and nobody's on the floor of the House, and it's sort of a mess.
Well, that's just a fixed camera that C-SPAN has stuck up there, and yet they will perform for that camera, so they have something that they can show to the constituents back home. Before I get into another subject here, it's time fast approaching for another break, so let's take that now. It's Legal Roundtable Day, and we have with us here in studio Judge Booker Shaw with Thompson Coburn, Mark Smith of Washington University, and Bill Freivogel, Director of the School of Journalism at SIU in Carbondale. Back to continue our conversation in just a moment. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.